Last time, on Sailing Kittiwake, we waited out some high winds on the south coast of Spain and continued our journey towards the beautiful Balearic Islands. In this episode, we head off from our anchorage in the abandoned marina project in Mar Menor and finally reach some crystal clear water and a stunning bay on Ibiza. Such a spooky place, but at sunrise it's really cool. It's really nice. I had an amazing sleep. It was the best sleep of my life. Yeah, great anchorage. Highly recommend it. And we're heading off. We might end up in Ibiza because after tomorrow the winds change a little bit and it doesn't seem like there's a decent anchorage with good protection on Formentera, but it's not a problem. We'll go back to Formentera. It's a bit of a shame we're not staying, so we can't take any drone footage and really show you what it's like around here. So I'll try and explain it like this. This over here, it's a long strip of land. It's what I said looks a little bit like Key West, which I had no idea was so built up. It's really built up. You can see the high-rise buildings extending all across it. Behind it, between the mountains and the strip of land, there's an enclosed sea called Mar Menor, and the mountains are the mainland Spain. So I hope that kind of explains it a little bit.
Just got up, something's wrong. I waited up, wounds on my feet. Where will you?
We are going to put the cruising shoes up. So because we don't have a sock for it, we shield it with the Genoa. So it comes out behind it and then it fills only once we fill the Genoa in, which really helps keep everything under control. Okay.
Hide with me. Come and hide with me. Hide with me.
So on most monohulls you'd normally have the tack line of the cruising chute, which is the bit right at the bottom at the front, going down through the anchor roller like this. But on our boat, because we have this cross beam going across the front, our anchor roller isn't really that great for doing upwards loads because it'll probably just pull the beam up. It'd probably take a little bit, but if the winds got up it could pull the beam up because the brackets aren't designed in that way. So what we do is we take the tack line down to the front cleats. So we have one on each side, kind of like a bridle, and that also means that we can position the tack of the cruising chute to one side or another.
So if you followed our channel for a little bit, even a few episodes, you probably know by now that we're not exactly the clubbing, partying type people. So you might wonder why of all places, we're going to Ibiza, which is like party capital of the Med, or at least the Western Med. And I think even though Ibiza in particular is really well known for the clubs and all of that, there's so much more to it. Like, the party places are all in two main towns, and everywhere else is meant to be pretty stunning and still fairly wild. And the pilot book seems to suggest that. And as well, according to the pilot book, I just found out the pine tree forests on Ibiza inspired the Romans to call these islands Kittiwake, so the pine tree islands. And I love pine forests, so I'm really excited to set foot on Ibiza and go and explore, put the drone up and take some cool aerial shots. So hopefully we can show you the wilder side of this island.
Hide with me, hide with me.
I'm not really sure why it is, but there's a huge difference in our moods between when we're motoring and when we're sailing. I think partly it's because motoring is a bit boring, but really like the difference in our moods isn't really just because of that, I don't think. There's something special about sailing where you kind of feel like you're getting it for free and it's kind of satisfying, trimming the sails, and I guess it's kind of how the boat is supposed to work, so it just kind of moves better with the sails pulling it along than with the engine driving it through the water. And it's much prettier as well, looking up at the sail, seeing how it all works. It's just, yeah, a nicer way to travel than motoring.
Stars are bright, they call you up just to hear your voice on the machine.
The winds were a little bit light this morning, so we've been motor sailing and a little bit of just motoring just to maintain our 4.5 knots that we need to make so that we can get far enough north that when the winds change we can head east to the Balearics. But now the wind's picked up a bit, which is exactly what it was forecast to do. The winds so far have really, the forecasts have been really accurate about the winds. Like we look at windy and predict wind, and as long as they're aligned, like you can be pretty sure that that's what's going to happen. And today that is pretty much exactly what happened, I think. I think it was maybe a little bit lighter this morning than we were expecting from the forecast, but generally it filled in exactly when it said, and it seems to be building. I'm sure soon enough we'll need to reef the Genoa if it builds much more. But at the moment we're making great time. We need to maintain 4.5 knots, and I think we're doing about 5.2. So yeah, the winds are forecast to build, so it should be a lovely afternoon of sailing.
You excited to get to Ibiza?
Yeah, a lot. I can't wait for that feeling of like wanting to go and explore a place for the sake of exploring it. I think we haven't really had it since we were maybe Isla Cies, where we were like really keen to like get off the boat and go and look around and and sail the boat to different anchorages and swim and just explore. I think that's like a big part of sail cruising for me, and we just haven't really had that much recently. So I'm pretty excited about that, and I'm pretty excited to see the crystal clear water, and hopefully the waters will be warm enough that we can swim.
What are you going to do when we get there?
I'm not really sure. Depends on what time it is. I think we'll probably have a little sleep, and then if we're in a nice colour, maybe go ashore and fly the drone and spend some time at the beach, spend some time off the boat, because we've been on the boat for ages. We haven't actually gotten off the boat even when we've been anchored since Gibraltar, I think.
Conditions have changed quite a lot today. We went from feeling like in the polar circle this morning to hanging out almost naked at midday because it was really hot and there was no wind, to probably a force 4, force 5 right now, would you say, right?
Yeah, force 5 easily.
Force 5 at least. We're downwind, so it's really comfy. But we had to put quite a few rups on the Genoa. We're doing over 6 knots with a tiny triangle of it. It's always really fun for me, but Obviously at the back of my head there's quite big waves behind us. I can't really capture them on camera, but I'll try my best.
How high would you say the waves are?
I'd say the highest one 3 meters. What happened?
So I went to pull in our tuna lure, and something massive must have like ripped it right off the thing. The like little swivel is like broken right open.
No, we didn't catch him.
We didn't catch it. God knows what could have done that though. That's like, I think these things take like 200 kilos. So that must have been huge.
Is that your favourite lure?
Yeah. I'm gonna get a new one for my birthday then.
How do you know that?
Because I asked. And if you don't get me one, then I can just get myself one.
Great attitude.
It's 3:30 in the morning. We're on an amazing reach just forward of the beam. So kind of like a close reach, I guess. We're doing about 6 knots as we come into Ibiza. We're about 15 nautical miles out, so we'll be there in probably just under 3 hours, hopefully just as the sun rises and we get to see into the Cala and see all the like amazing coastline. Really excited to get there. It's been a bit of a tough trip. It's been kind of constantly changing conditions, which has been good in terms of like figuring out more to do with the boat, about like sail handling in different conditions and stuff. But Eleanor's been feeling a bit rough, which is why she hasn't really been doing any updates and whatnot. But we should be there soon and can't wait to show you guys where we end up anchoring.
Come and hide with me, hide with me, hide with me. The sun is up, the clouds are gone, but I'm still here with wounds on my feet. Where will you be?
We made it! Welcome to Ibiza. We are off the boat finally. It's a great feeling. We are on Ibiza in the south part of the island. It's a tiny little anchorage. It took us 3 goes to find the right anchorage because the winds are going all over from northeast right down to southwest. So yeah, we made it in the end, found the right anchorage for that wind, and it's just great to be walking on land after 6 days of being on the boat. And the water is amazing, and I even went for a little swim earlier, but it lasted about 2 seconds, so that's why we don't have it on video. It's really cold, 18 degrees Celsius. Out here it's about 20 degrees Celsius. And yeah, we're just going for a walk and flying the drone. It's amazing. We set off from Gibraltar on the 28th of April, stopping at Roquetas de Mar, Monte Cope and Mar Menor. We arrived into Cala Yondal on Ibiza on the morning of the 3rd of May, after sailing a total of 415 miles in 80 hours at sea. We really used all the wind there was. What are we celebrating?
We're celebrating 1 year of being on the boat, getting to like the proper Mediterranean area, celebrating the end of that last passage because it was quite hard work. And we're commiserating the loss of our tuna lure. But we have got a backup one, blue and white one, which is supposed to be for Dorado, but it looks a bit like the one that Sailing the Vagabond use and get loads of tuna on, so hopefully we'll be able to catch some tuna in the Med.
Alfred.
Yeah, it looks like Alfred. That's it, I think.
And is it a month since we left the boatyard?
Oh yeah, in a month since we left the boatyard.
Oh, we made a lot of distance, huh?
Yeah, we've recovered a lot of ground and done a lot of stuff, especially given that we also went up the Rio Guadiana. Been doing a lot of sailing. I feel like I've learnt a lot more about the boat this year. I think over the winter I was kind of researching a lot to do with like sail trim and balance and stuff. And I think the boat's sailing a lot better. I think we're sailing it a bit better. I think the work in the boatyard has paid off.
But we're glad we're not in there.
We're glad we're not in the boatyard, and we're glad that that big passage is over, because now we've just got like however many weeks we want of this basically. But we'll still move about a bit and see some different places and yeah, keep it interesting, but at the same time have a more chilled out pace.
Yeah, we've got a lot of work, like real life work to do as well, don't we?
Yeah, a lot of video editing, a lot of freelance work. I don't think we've got that much boat work to do, but I'm sure if I thought about it I could conjure up a load of little jobs to do.
Always the case. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up or subscribe for more videos of our sailing adventure. These videos are made possible by our Patreon crew. If you'd like to help us make these videos, then follow the link to our Patreon page. Join us next time as we start to explore the beautiful islands of the Mediterranean.